Hi, everybody. My name is Nigeria Chambers of Big Go Belt Media. Erik and Carson, is a pleasure to talk to you today about your new film that I got to check out. Totally have a lot of questions, but I definitely want to start off by saying congratulations coming back to Popcorn Frights with your world premiere now of Founders Day. So I just want to be clear. I did do some research here, but I definitely for the intents of the interview, so that the whole audience, the fans, the worlds can all come full circle with this. While this is your third feature, in the notes it said this was the one that you really wanted to make first, which means this one's truly special, near and dear. It really encompasses the American dream. If you ask me, that idea of starting something which either is your brother, your siblings, or your friends, and whether it's the garage or the dorm room, and you make it happen. You make the dream happen, and yet we have a release date that has a world premiere, and much more success beyond this, because this was a very fantastic film, fantastic cast. Erik, yourself as well, wearing multiple hats in it. But just with all that being said, how are you two feeling about the progress you've made to get to this point now?
It's kind of it's a little surreal, which I think is like, the go-to answer probably for something like this. But really, I mean, this is something that's been with us for uh 12 years since thinking of it. We made a concept trailer for it 10 years ago. So like literally 10 summers ago, we were running around the state of Connecticut just popping off little shots with a bunch of actor friends to try to make it look like a full movie, and thinking like, oh, maybe in the next like 6 months to a year we'll make the whole thing. And obviously, and it took 10 years. And so I don't know, it feels like yesterday but a long time ago. So it's this weird, I don't know, my relationship with time with it is just really weird. But there's a huge, I don't know, but it feels good. It feels like we were talking about what the next one was going to be after we finished She Came from the Woods, and we were like, I think it's Founders Day. I think like it's time to like we just okay. And what is Founders Day today? Because we've gone through, it's been with us for so long, and we've done different variations on the script. And so that was just a really, I don't know, not to just say what probably a lot of people think, but like a cathartic thing.
Yeah, it was
to like
it was.
exhale.
And I think too, something that was really special to us is when we look at that first project, we were kids with camcorders and stereotypical kids with camcorders, but that was sort of the first thing where we're like, let's try to give this a go. And we had that spirit of like wonder and just exploration with that. And we sort of in our naivety thought like it would lead to everything quickly, but getting to sort of run full circle with this, we were still able to kind of infuse that energy in this movie in this way. So that's what makes it, I think, all the more special, that like we're doing this now, but we're keeping that from,
that's in childlike, or not childlike, but like
wide-eyed
wonder, but like with being professionals now, right. I guess, and it was that sense of fun running around a town for 12 days. And it's a long answer to your question, but it's been a long
and honestly, I would allow even more time, because again, I think any inspiring actors, writers, directors, I mean, this is truly a testament of making a dream come true. It took a long time, but yet you got it done. And you could have went with a short route. You say you had to tease a trailer, but you could have opted out and said, let's just do a short. But this is a feature-length film, and anybody knows, especially right now, it is extremely difficult to get projects into action, get it into flow, get it in front of people's eyes. Carson, I thoroughly checked the credits. I very much had my detective hat on for the intent of the film the entire time, and I just didn't see you in it. And I wonder, why didn't you take a role in front of the camera here?
I'm wondering, do I show up in this in some way? I usually know off the bat what scene I'm in, but like
usually as a liner, he plays like 5 people.
Yeah, I am under the mask at some point.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, he's not the killer.
I'm not.
But he
random turn of events.
But he does take a turn under the mask for an insert shot. So when you get one of those,
right. I'll pop up and stuff sporadically here or there, but
your voice is in this.
My voice is in this, yeah, in a few different places, which is fun to sort of like add that extra element at the end. But yeah.
That's also, but even with that being said, Gentlemen, what a cast you have here.
Thank you.
So many names, so much talent, the diversity of talent. I mean, obviously, the two names that quickly jump at you is Amy and Devin. And then William Russ, who I'm like, okay, now somebody had a fandom like I did as a child here. Naomi Grace as well too. Listen, independent films are very much a money pit. Getting people to sign on is a money pit. But how did you all work out this, shall I say, Houdini of an act of getting this star-studded cast and the chemistry everybody had together? How did you all put it together here?
Thanks for saying that, because that's like
So
that's like a big thing just for us in general is to try to get cool ensembles together.
We love this ensemble. It just feels like it just runs the gamut of like everything kind of you want to put in this kind of movie too.
I think it starts with a couple of like people that have been in stuff with us before. So whether that's me, Adam Wepler, who plays the deputy, and Amy Hargreaves, who was in another movie with us as a friend now, starting with that. And then from there, kind of seeing who people know and would be a fit and kind of building out from there. And then one day, Carson just, when we were talking about Mr. Jackson, Carson just texted me this picture of William Russ. And I was like, oh my God. We love Boy Meets World. We love Boy Meets World.
Me too.
Grew up with it. I mean, I'm so happy they hear you shout that out, because there's something that's so, I don't know, just the idea of Mr. Matthews turned cool Mr. Feeney is like, it's like,
yeah, and he's got such a cool look in this too that you don't quite expect, and he just our stuff had resonated with him, the material did, and he jumped in. It was awesome.
And I think the cool thing with him is that, like, even if you don't explicitly recognize his face, like because he looks a little different or or it's been 20 years since Boy, longer, 20, whatever.
It ended
like you're subconsciously like, I know him, and that's like, and that's kind of what you want for that guy. And then Amy, it was really fun just to give her something that was so different than what she did in our last one. She was very wholesome, sweet in our last one, and she is just completely different here. And just building out from there and trying to give people interesting things that they maybe didn't do last time, and I think that lends to people's excitement, and then they bring some of their friends into the fold. We were very lucky that Devin was into it, and just I think everybody coming in excited about what they're doing, knowing the movie they're making, and to like hopefully find lightning, and I think we did. Well,
yeah, and I mean, I don't want to slight the cast because I can go on and on. I mean, Tyler, Catherine, Amelia, like there's so many names and so many faces you've seen in so many different projects. So it was like a perfect mixing bowl of folks who almost want to say should have been in this film. Like it's like you absolutely cast it masterfully. You gave folks like I was just a fan alone on paper. Then once you start to see these characters introduced, then you start to get into the plot and you start really putting on that detective hat saying, all right, who's behind this?
The thing with a movie like this is like it's a big cast, so everybody needs to be distinct, but you don't want to make them so distinct that they feel like this is that type, this is that type, this is this. But so I think everybody did such a good job of being who they are and who they're supposed to be.
Dimensionality and
but we talk about this too, like whoever ends up being underneath the mask, we in watching this movie back have been like, but what if it was this instead? And we keep thinking like there are like other interesting alternatives how this movie shakes out that we have thought of. We're happy with what happens. I'm really dancing the dance right now.
Yes, we are. We're not going to talk about it either.
Not at all.
But there's just some of these characters. I'm like, what if this person and this was motivation? That would have been cool. But I guess hopefully we just have to get the Clue remake, and then we, like Carson said, and then we can do 5 endings.
And it was done because you can see a lot of inspiration from other slashers and other just horror films, and then ultimately there's certain characters that remind you of certain characters. When it comes down to the reveal of who the slasher, you start to think like, could it be this character? Could it be this character? Then ultimately it just kind of all blew up in my face. Then I was like, yeah, it's definitely Erik. It's definitely Erik. And for whatever reason, it's gonna be Erik here. But folks, you're gonna have to watch and find out.
I have to watch and find out.
Absolutely. There's two very important questions. Yet I feel responsible questions I should ask for you two in terms of while the film is titled a bold political slasher. When you throw political and stuff, that could be a deterrent for folks. And I wanted to know, making that statement, what was just the thought process behind that? And then ultimately with that, how did you all, which I also think was a fantastic job, how did you all work on the balancing of the toning? Because while there is some deep, important political messages in it, it is still much a horror film. It has a little bit of comedy to it, and then it truly does feel you feel the inspiration for some of the classes. Obviously, I can say as we all grew up watching as well too. So there's a lot you're kind of shuffling, and that could be a continuity issue, which isn't an issue. So just kind of wondering, how did you go forward with, slapping the bold political slasher title to it, going through with that, and then really keeping things balanced so that the story progressed in the way it did?
I think you hear political thriller a lot, but you don't hear political horror or political slasher, and so we kind of wanted to tie into that. There is
this intrigue.
There's this level of intrigue. Sorry, there's this level of intrigue throughout it. So that's what we're trying to evoke when we say that. But ultimately, when people watch the movie, they'll see like we're not like, here's the Republican, here's the Demo. It's not about that. It's about the system. It's about the people that are like
right,
that are within the system and what happens and when people have opposing ideologies in a general sense.
Right.
And in terms of balancing tone, I mean, we thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky one. Obviously, like we have these moments of levity and humor, but we never want it to undercut, the ongoing sense of dread and curiosity about what's going to happen.
Curiosity is a good word. Yeah.
So we just want to honor that. And then, I'll say that there's plenty of other things that we could have worked in here. Catherine Curtin has plenty of ad libs that could have also made it into the movie, which we find hysterical, but we're like, maybe we'll just do one here and it'll be this, just to keep it kind of like cohesive and like, confident with what we're going for, because we want to keep you with us and thrilled through all of it without sort of like breaking that.
I think to that point, we don't want to make like a feel bad movie. We want to make a movie where you feel bad sometimes, but we don't want to make a feel bad movie. We ultimately want there to be this like, I think I captured that one, like puzzle box. Like you just want to like, what is the like? Finish this Rubik's Cube. What is this? And the world is inhabited by different, interesting people, and I don't know. She's a big part of, I think, why that she straddles that line so well between like the comedy, but also like legitimately wanting to solve the case.
Yeah, and I think it keeps I'm watching this movie, but I feel part of it. But like, it's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Catherine, man, what a role, as you mentioned. Commissioner Peterson, just one of my favorite characters in this. Also felt like very inclined because like my last name is Chambers too, so I'm like very much like,
let's go.
I'm like too much Allison here. I was just like, listen, like I'm with you. We need to figure out what's going on, and we're gonna get to the bottom of it one way or another. And her father Thomas, who just comes in and really shakes things out. And I mean, that's what I really liked about the film. Right, Andrew, fantastic in this, and like Andrew comes off mildly like soft-spoken at a point and very righteous about the protection of his daughter, and then there's certain parts of it you're just like, okay, hold on, there's no way. That's what I'm saying, just blows up in your face. Whatever theories you have, you're definitely shuffling the deck by the middle of the film. Two quick questions really quick. With horror films, and this film does get a little gory at times here. Which I do love the slasher device, the mallet with the horror films can get very expensive when you start playing with gore here. Could you talk about your special effects and makeup design team in terms of really bringing these gory scenes out, but also being very cautious about your budget?
I think that we talked to, his name is John Lauterbach, who does a lot of the special effects stuff with us, and he's amazing. And we talks a lot about like what can we do and how far can we push it, and there were versions where it's like this will take 2 hours more, and it's like okay, and we'll get like 5% more benefit from it. So we have to weigh that into consideration. Like on days where we had more time, we did this version, and days where we didn't, we did less. But and I think sometimes we made that decision on the day too. Like he had both versions ready, but we
and some days we were able to kind of just do it all, and then other days it's like, you know what, this works actually also narratively if we just kind of like don't kind of do it all, you know. So it's just trying to like be mindful of it in anticipation in the doing of it.
And then there were days where it's like there were deceptively simple gags that like work really. I mean, I can't speak about, but like there are things where it's like, John, I need like something here. I need like on the morning we're walking to set. I'm like, I just realized like this would really help. And he's like, oh, I can do this. I'm like, okay, great.
Yeah,
go for it. I'll block it this way so that we can hide this thing so that you can do that. And that's so but that's sort of the fun of doing it this way too. Like we prep as much as we can, obviously, but having that degree of in the spirit of the trailer that we made, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. So I keep saying final two questions, but these are truly my final two questions there. The last one here before the final is what is the message you want the fans to take away from this? Because again, you are working with sort of almost a Rubik's cube of different intricacies within the film. Rather, you're trying to figure out who the slasher is. You also are in protection of Allison and what happens very early in this film. But then there's so many characters that are so vibrant that are introduced, and some you really instantly love, some you instantly are like, nah, that's got to be the person. Then you kind of shift positions on some, and then ultimately you still got this umbrella because it is a political slasher film. So ultimately, what is that film? What is that message? What is that emotion that you want the audience to take away from watching this film?
If I may, I don't know if we have like an explicit like feel this right at the end that we want. I think we want to sort of like cultivate a different way of reflecting on some of the themes that we're presenting, so that people can kind of like maybe see it a little differently than they went in sort of, and I'm trying to be very vague here, but they went in expecting
I think something where people feel motivated to like talk about it, and not in like an overly like think tanky kind of way, but in like a
conversation starter.
Yeah, like the ultimate philosophical takeaway, I won't explicitly say right now just for reasons, but I think that the feeling is that I like the idea of people being motivated and energized to talk about what that actually might be, and what their theories were along the way, and maybe to want to see it again.
And I think this movie has a unique ability to do that because of what it is. So hopefully it can.
Yeah, see, you worked yourself into a good problem here, because you want folks to talk about it. That's why I was very interested in wanting to talk to you all. But then after wanting to talk about it, then the demand says, well, what story are we going to tell beyond this? Which brings me to my final question. I know this, as I mentioned, is a very near and dear story and project ultimately for you all, that you had a lot of time to think about it, perfect it, and get it out. And now that it's going to be releasing at Popcorn Frights on August 18th, what's next beyond this? Do you want to tell more story within this world, or are you already thinking about the next project outside of this?
Yes. Both.
Yeah,
we'll see.
There's definitely something in the cards that's not this, but we hashed out.
We've discussed.
Yeah,
we've discussed. We'll see how it goes.
It would be a big if, and not a gonna happen. We'll see. Who knows? But
but we have discussed. We have discussed different paths, like in the writing of the original. What are the different paths?
Right.
That, whether we go down them or not, we'll see. But
okay,
we do love this movie, and we do love this world, and we're really excited to share it with people. And I'll leave you with this, and I'm going to say this during our opening speech at Popcorn Frights. But I feel like a lot of people watching this won't be there. The night that we premiere, and actually the time that we're premiering, is pretty much exactly like down to the hour, 10 years to the day since wrapping the concept trailer. The day that we
that's
wrapped
awesome.
We wrapped it on August 18th, 2013, and we're premiering on August 18th, 2023. So
that's insane.
Very poetic.
very cool.
Well, Erik, you can also plead your case as to why Oliver is or is not. No, I'm just playing.
No, leave it in the comments. We'll talk.
It's been a while too.
We don't remember. We haven't seen it in a while.
No, but seriously, Erik and Carson, it's been a pleasure to talk to you two today. I enjoyed this film. I know folks are going to have a really fun time with this one. And folks, I gotta tell you, you probably got a lot of questions you were wondering with this film. But I guarantee you the thoughts, the sort of your predictions, all that sorts of different stuff upon watching the film, that commentary for sure that you will have will certainly leave you in desiring to either want to watch it again or get a sequel after this, because there's a lot that happens. And I love how you said shifting certain elements could change certain dynamics in the film. Totally agree. I don't want to give anything away, but I definitely thought one myself. But nonetheless, it's good to get another good horror class. This has been the year of horror films, by the way.
Yeah.
This has been the year, and I think this is another one that folks are going to have to check out. Again, this is Founders Day. We'll be making this world premiere at Popcorn Frights on August 18th. And then after that, gotta keep your eyes out for it, which I will have Erik and Carson's information in the description below to keep up with all their work, because they're forever working. If you look at the credits, you see the work has never stopped. And you can get a chance to see when you will have an opportunity to check out Founders Day. Do y'all have a projected plan yet? Digital or theatrical release yet?
Not yet. I think there's going to be fests through the rest of the year, and then we'll hopefully have some news on what's up next.
Coming months, we'll see.
In the coming months. Yeah.
Love to hear it. Neon, A24, XYZ, Shutter. Yeah, make a call. IFC, make a call, folks. Get it done. This is a good one here. Erik and Carson, thank you so much for the time.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Absolutely.